I need NOS. I need NOS. Neri, I need it by tonight.
Welcome back, everybody. Today's an exciting day. I finally got a deal made to pick up a new car, but unfortunately we have to say goodbye to the C8 Corvette and the Lamborghini Gallardo. However, it's going to be an upgrade. I'm pretty excited. It's supposed to snow today and over the weekend, and we got to drive this thing to the dealership in Kelowna, so that's not going to be fun. But hasn't snowed yet, but I have seen some cars on the road today that are all covered in snow. But we got the Corvette all cleaned up, ready to take to the dealership. We got all the spare tires and everything loaded up, all the spare parts, everything that we've modified. It's gonna be a bittersweet deal here. I'm gonna miss this car. I'm gonna miss the Gallardo, but on to bigger and better things. Trading 2 for 1 though, it kind of seems silly. I'm gonna miss this, but yeah, hopefully everything goes smoothly. Gotta get this thing to Kelowna, then I gotta load up the Gallardo into a trailer and get that all the way to Calgary, so going to another province, and then pick up a new vehicle from there. So stay tuned, we're gonna do the road trip. We're gonna take this car for officially, for real, one last drive, unless the dealership for some reason turns it away, but this should be the last drive in the 2021 C8 Corvette in Elkhart Lake Blue Metallic. It's a beautiful car, drives fantastic, but on to other things, I guess. It's kind of sad. Gonna miss it, but I can always buy another one later if I miss it more than the new car that I like. So we'll see how it goes. Stay tuned. One final cold start for shits and giggles. Drive. Definitely kind of hurts my heart. This is the first supercar I've ever owned. Sports car, if you don't want to call a C8 Corvette a supercar, but definitely the first one. I did get it from Kelowna Chevrolet, so it's going back to where it came from. Kind of had to work a three-way deal to get the car that I want, and that's a HURACAN. So gonna go and get that HURACAN, but it's in Calgary. They want to take in the Gallardo as a trade-in, but they didn't really want the Vet, and they weren't offering me any sort of real money for it. I did refinance this car when I did buy the Lamborghini, so I pretty much bought that one outright by refinancing this one, but I ended up owing like 150 grand on this car rather than the 93 I paid for it, but then the cost of them went up. It's worth a lot more. I still owe like 110 and I'm not getting that out of it, which kind of sucks. But what they're doing, I'm basically trading both cars into the Calgary dealership, and then the Calgary dealership's immediately selling it to Kelowna Chevrolet. So the car's never actually going to see Calgary, so that's why I'm taking it to Kelowna Chevrolet now. But yeah, I lose a couple grand by doing that deal, but that ensures that all of my trade-ins are in one dealership, so I get the max tax credit savings on the HURACAN. So I won't owe any taxes on that because my trade-ins are worth more than what I'm picking up. And what that also means is that my monthly payment for the cars is going to be less than it is now. So that'll give me more funds to inject into the 240 build that you've seen in the previous video. So my payments go down, plus the cost of living, everything's just gotten crazy right now. So having a little more free-flowing cash is always a good idea. And being that I'll only have one supercar instead of two, will make my insurance costs less next summer. When I insure these things, I won't have to insure two cars, I'll just have the one HURACAN. Hopefully it's not going to be a whole lot more than the Gallardo. Being a 2015, it falls under a certain group rate that is more expensive, but if it was actually a 2016, it goes up even one more year because it's within 10 years, I think, or 7 years. If it was worth more than 300 grand within 7 years, it falls under even another rate that makes the insurance even higher, like 10 grand a year, something crazy like that. So it should be in the same category as the Gallardo. Should be fairly reasonable in a sense, still expensive, but reasonable. And then I won't have to insure the C8 either because it'll be gone. So I'll have one insurance payment, one car payment, and it'll be less, save about $700 a month, which all that will go into the rebuild. And yeah, so it's beneficial. I think I'm making the right decision. The Huracan is really the best of both of these cars put together. It's got the dual clutch transmission like in the C8. It's got the newer tech, similar, not quite as new and advanced as the C8 for the technology on the inside, but it still has the wow factor of the Lamborghini and the styling and the looks. And that's one of my favorite things about owning a Lamborghini, is just driving around and seeing kids' faces light up and people just staring and breaking their neck every time you pass. So it's, you know, taking a little bit from each car and putting it into one is what I think the Huracan's going to be. Plus, I'm gaining another 50 horsepower on top of the Lambo that I have now, and it's a few hundred pounds lighter, and it's not so raw. It'll handle a lot better than the Gallardo, which is one thing I love about the Gallardo, is how raw it is, but at the same time it makes it really hard to drive around town or really doing anything. People always ask me, which car do I like better, the C8 or the Lambo? And it's really a hard toss-up. I usually tell them, for practicality, the C8 can't be beat. It's fast, it's comfortable, it has lots of storage space, whether in the front or in the rear behind the motor. You can fit 2 sets of golf clubs in there. It's really practical in that sense, but it just doesn't have that wow factor of the Lamborghini. Not only that, because it's so electronically controlled, you can really push the C8 hard and it doesn't feel like it's trying to kill you. So it doesn't feel as fast or as fun, where the Gallardo is very raw. It tries to kill you every time you're driving, and it kind of dances all over the road a little bit with the way that the all-wheel drive system works. The shifts want to break your neck every time you shift gears when you're in Corsa mode, which is great, and I love that aspect, but it's just not dailyable in a sense, or even cruising around town, stop and go traffic. It's not ideal. And the tech on the inside, it's not very comfortable. It doesn't have Bluetooth. It doesn't do a whole lot of things on the inside. Has no cup holder, but unfortunately neither does the Huracan that I'm getting. They didn't come out with the cup holder until 2016, and it was a special option that was like $500. So maybe we can retrofit one in at one point, but is a cup holder really a make or break deal? No. But yeah, hopefully I'll be happy with the Huracan. Mixing these two cars together, creating that Huracan in a sense, is kind of the way I look at it, and saving some money every month. And then if I really want to burn some tires off, we'll have the 240 as our kind of drift car, skid car, race car, whatever, rather than using these cars for that, when each tire costs damn near $1,000 a pop. It's just not cost effective to be beating on these cars. So stay tuned. We're definitely still going to beat on the Huracan, so don't get me wrong. That thing's going to do some donuts and stuff too, and we'll burn some tires. Hopefully it comes with a decent amount of rubber on them, because I just spent, God, $7 grand on tires between these two cars, and I really don't want to spend any more on new tires for the Huracan, but we'll see what it looks like when we get there. First things first, got to get this C8 dropped off, and as long as they take it and there's no surprises there, then everything should be a go for this weekend to take a trip to Calgary and pick up the Huracan. I'm kind of battling with insurance right now on how I can get it covered. They want it trailered there, but if I get a permit, it's not covered well on the trailer, but if I'm driving it, it's covered. And if I wanted to do a single day permit, then it's like $500 and something for the collision comprehensive, where the liability is only like $28. So it just doesn't make sense. And then for the binder that I need to get the Huracan home, it was only $150 for like 4 days worth of insurance. So it just doesn't make sense on how it works. Yet with the binder, it's not covered at all unless it's driving, and they won't offer me any sort of trailering insurance. So I'm not really sure on how I can trailer the one car there and it be covered in the trailer, yet pick up the other car and have it covered in a trailer, because it's going to be snowy on the passes and it's got summer tires on it. And as of October 1st, you have to have winter tires to drive on the highways. So even technically taking this car to Kelowna right now from Vernon with no snow tires is illegal. So am I even covered? So there's no real easy way to do this. I'm taking a gamble either which way. If it's in the trailer, it's a gamble. If it's not in the trailer on the way home, it's covered, but I don't have snow tires on it, so it's not covered. So I don't really know what to do. I'm gonna see what I can get for insurance in Alberta, because I have to get insurance in that province just to get from the dealership to the border, in a sense, because the binder that I get through ICBC here in BC only covers it from BC border home. So it's really a screw around, but I'll get all that sorted. First things first, getting this car dropped off and making sure that they're going to pay me for it. I am taking a bit of a hit. It's not going to pay off the car fully, but I've worked all that into the financing of the Huracan, and yeah, everything will be paid out, and then I'll have single payment on the Huracan, and it even's coming with a warranty for 3 years or 60,000 K, which is good because it is kind of high miles for sure. Not in the sense of any other car, it's not very high miles, but in the terms of a supercar, it is. But thankfully, the Huracan in the Gallardo 5.2 liter platform, that motor is the most bulletproof motor you can get in a supercar. That's kind of why I'm sticking with it, because they are reliable, and there's a lot of tunability and things you can do to them. Lots of aftermarket support, body kits, and they look good when you wrap them and everything else. So I'm excited. Stick around. We will carry this trip over a few days. I'll keep filming, and yeah, you'll end up seeing the Huracan, and hopefully we don't get run into any major snowfall on the highways when we try to get there with these cars there and back. Stick around. Well, that did not go exactly as planned. We dropped the Corvette off at Kelowna Chevrolet, and to be honest, they were kind of rude about it. They picked it apart. It was dirty, obviously, because it's ugly outside. And they're like, oh, it's not in very good shape, but it was absolutely mint before I left. And it's like, if it really came down to it, I'd take it for a car wash and bring it back and show them. But they kind of picked it apart and saw like one tiny little rock chip on the face of the one wheel. Not that I curbed it or anything, but they're picking it apart. And they're like, yeah, well, we have to get it in for an inspection. It's a new thing as of whatever date. We got to inspect every car before we give a large sum of money away for something like that. But we had already had a deal over the phone. They knew it was coming. They requested the car a few days ago, and then take it there when I told them it was going to be there, that I couldn't get to them because of work and whatever else. And I get there, and they pick it apart, and they say they got to get it in for an inspection, but they can't do it till next week. And I was like, well, shouldn't you have had this figured out? You knew it was coming. I'm planning on going this weekend to pick up the other car and take this car out there with me and do the trade. But anyway, it just didn't work out, and we'll see what they say when it comes to numbers. I pretty much told the guy that I had been dealing with that is all right to deal with, but the manager was just kind of douchey, to be honest. But the guy that I was dealing with was all right, and I basically told him after the manager walked away, I said, look, if he tries to lowball me over a tiny little nick on a wheel that is an aftermarket wheel, even though I gave them the stock wheels, if they try to lowball me for any reason at all, because they already are lowballing me on the offer, that the whole deal's off, that we're not having it. And I'm pretty pissed off that, honestly, like, it's going to take this long for them to even look at it. They said they're going to try to squeeze it in, so that's cool. So hopefully they stick up to their end of the deal and we can get out to Calgary on the weekend. But then I called the Calgary dealership and said, hey, things are not going as planned. They might not be able to get it in right away. And he said, well, that might actually work out because they took the Lamborghini over to Lamborghini Calgary to have it inspected to make sure it was all good to go from there. And he said that they found a few issues, and it was going to be like $4,000 in repairs, and it was going to take a week to get the parts, and then they're going to have to get it installed and all that sort of stuff. So it's really not working out in my favor at this point, which really sucks. Now I am without a C8, and the payments are still coming through until they obviously pay off the lien on that and the deal all goes through. But we've already signed the deal on the Huracan. May have jumped the gun, I guess, a little early on that, but anyway, we're basically sitting still now. I got no C8. It's gone. That was the last drive, unless, things go sideways with the inspection, but it shouldn't. The car is pretty mint, and I mean, as much as I beat on it, I've also taken really good care of it, so things should go good there. But now we're waiting on the Lamborghini. But there is an upside. There is a plus to all this. All that nonsense with the insurance, trying to get it all sorted out, shouldn't be an issue anymore. Because of this, the Calgary dealership said that they would arrange for transport. So they're going to bring it here because of the snow coming and the weather changing and all that. It just doesn't make sense for me to trailer this one out there and take that chance and then trailer the other one back. They're going to transport it right to me, and when they get here, they'll load this one up, take it away, and everything will be a done deal. So that works out better in my favor, saves the insurance, saves the whole weekend basically traveling out there, 6-7 hours away, fighting the weather, and taking the chance on wrecking anything. And basically, yeah, that's it. They're going to transport it here, and it should be a done deal. So obviously, you're not going to see the new car in this video. I'm going to put this one out because there's no point in waiting. It could be a week or two before we actually get the car that I'm looking forward to getting here. But it is what it is. It's a waiting game now, but I mean, I have zero patience, and it's going to be hard for me to want to wait, especially when I'm down a car. It's not driving season anyway. All the insurances have expired. but it's still, I'm anxious, I'm excited. I want to get that car. Hopefully things go well at the Chevrolet dealership in Kelowna, and hopefully things go well at Lamborghini Calgary, and we'll have that car here in no time, and everything will be a done deal. But you'll have to stick around and wait for the next video to come out on the reveal. What color do you guys think it is? I've been wanting to do either a wrap to one of my 2 cars, or maybe 3 cars, I guess, but I was going to do the C8 in this color, just because I wanted something. I've always wanted something of this color or similar to it. But I ended up loving the blue so much on the Corvette that I didn't want to change it, and I was going to change the wrap on this, but we just kind of added some flair to it at some point, and I was going to change it, but now this deal's happening. So what color do you think it is that I've always wanted one of these cars to be? What color do you think would look good? What color is your favorite stock color for a 2015 Lamborghini Huracan? I know what it is. I'm excited for it to get here. You'll have to wait and see. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one when we reveal that car.